Hello everyone, this is your friend Naruto Fix, and we are back with another epic What If Naruto fanfic. Which is, what if Naruto was trained by Orochimaru instead of Jiraiya? Part 1. If you love Naruto fanfics, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the journey with me. So, let's start the fanfic. Naruto Uzumaki was never meant to take the easy road. In another life, one where the world darkened just a little more, and hope slipped through the cracks of trust and timing, Naruto's destiny changed forever. In this universe, the events after the Chunin exams unfolded differently. Jiraiya, the Toad Sage, never arrived in time to mentor the newly formed Team 7. And with no one to claim Naruto under their wing, Orochimaru came. A shadowed beginning. It began after Orochimaru's attack on the Leaf Village during the Chunin exams. Cracks had formed in Konoha's defenses. Something even worse had formed in Naruto's heart. The third Hokage fell, and when Naruto asked, no, begged, someone to teach him, someone to make him strong enough to protect everyone next time, the one who answered wasn't a hero. It was a monster. Orochimaru found him alone, training near a battered monument outside the village walls. My, such power, but no direction, Orochimaru had whispered, his voice coiling like a snake through the darkness. What a waste. Naruto turned, confused and suspicious. But Orochimaru did not threaten, nor attack. He simply watched, amused and interested, like a collector seeing a treasure in plain sight. You want strength, don't you? He said. Strength to protect your precious people. Naruto didn't understand why his heart reacted. All he heard was the word he craved. Strength. Fire the deal with the devil. Naruto didn't trust the man. Something in him screamed danger. But the village was grieving. Kakashi was distant. Sakura was broken. Sasuke had vanished. And Jiraiya had simply not come. Orochimaru offered answers. He spoke of the 9 tails in Naruto. He spoke of sealing arts. He spoke of power unbound by morality. He spoke of revenge, fragility, truth. He told Naruto that Konoha was hiding things from him, secrets that could burn the world. You hold a beast inside you, Naruto-kun, Orochimaru said, licking his lips. Why not learn how to control it, rather than be controlled by it? Naruto clenched his fists. He hated the tone, but he couldn't deny the truth. The power he had, the rage inside him, was not something anyone had taught him to use. They'd just told him, don't. So when Orochimaru offered to train him, to unlock his potential in exchange for nothing but his loyalty, Naruto agreed. And the serpent's smile stretched. Snake training in the shadows. Naruto left Konoha that night under a moon that seemed to hang lower than usual. He was taken to one of Orochimaru's hidden bases, a cavern of stone runes, cold walls, and forbidden chakra. Naruto began learning things he never imagined existed. Cursed seals, dark sealing arts, chakra decomposition, forbidden summoning, the biology of transformation, and more importantly, control over the 9 tails chakra. Orochimaru didn't suppress the beast like Jiraiya once did. He fed it, he poked it, he tempted the fox, awakening it piece by piece, making Naruto face the monster directly, until both were forced to acknowledge the truth. They were bound forever. Orochimaru whispered as he guided Naruto through the pain. Pain makes you awake, Naruto-kun. Power makes you alive. Naruto screamed, snarled, broke bones training, and healed again. Every day, he became more than the boy he was, but less than the boy he wanted to be. Something inside him was changing. The laugh faded from his voice. The rage no longer frightened him. His eyes started to linger too long on darkness. But his reason for getting stronger stayed the same, to protect the people he loved. Even if love was a memory now. Ninja first test against sound. Months into the training, Naruto stood before Orochimaru, now wielding a level of power he once couldn't have dreamed. He'd learned to infuse nature chakra like poison. He manipulated healing jutsu to deactivate opponents' muscles. He developed taijutsu meant for crippling, not overpowering. Orochimaru gave him a mission. Defeat my sound 4, all of them, and I will teach you the summoning technique of the White Serpent. Quote, Naruto took the challenge without hesitation. The Sound Four attacked him with bloodlust. They used curse mark transformations, jutsu chains, physical seals, but Naruto didn't fight like himself anymore. He fought like a snake. He was silent. He studied them. He struck where they were weakest. He poisoned their chakra systems. He used the Nine Tails chakra not to explode, but to coil, crush, cut. He won. And Orochimaru's laugh echoed in the stone. Skull transformation and consequence. By the end of part 1, Naruto Uzumaki was no longer the class clown. No longer Konoha's foolish boy. He was something else. His chakra was sharper, darker. His mind was clearer but colder. His strength had become something the Leaf would not recognize. But deep inside, the boy who wanted to be Hokage still burned. Still waited. Still ached to return home and prove he wasn't a monster. And in the shadows, Orochimaru knew this. And planned to use it. Because nothing manipulates a hero more than hope. The darkness around them felt heavy, almost alive. Sasuke's crimson Sharingan eyes scanned the underground cavern, his breath tense. He had been only moments away from attacking Naruto, and was still struggling to understand the change in his teammate, no, his former teammate. Naruto stood taller now, his presence sharper, colder. The once lovable, loud-mouthed boy was nowhere to be seen. Instead, a young shinobi stood carved by the hands of someone who feared no rule, no bond. Greater than, I told you, Sasuke, Naruto said quietly, his voice steady and eerie, I've changed. And just behind him, half hidden in the shadow, was Orochimaru, smiling a thin, sinister smile. The Sannin looked at his two chosen prodigies with unmistakable pride in his eyes, pride tainted by ambition and greed. Flashback, 2 years earlier. When Orochimaru first approached Naruto, it was under the guise of curiosity. The Snake Sannin had always been intrigued by forbidden power sources, and the boy with the 9 tails sealed inside him was the greatest specimen he could ever desire. But to his surprise, Naruto had come willingly. Naruto had begun doubting those around him, Jiraiya's long absence, Sakura's focus on Sasuke, the village's cold glares despite his growing skills as a shinobi. And then, just as he began to question where he belonged, Orochimaru whispered the words that changed everything. Greater than, you seek power, not just to be acknowledged, but to surpass all expectations, even the gods themselves, don't you? Quote, he wasn't wrong. Under Orochimaru, Naruto's training was ruthless. Gone was Jiraiya's festive and sometimes lazy teaching style. This was surgical precision, endless chakra exercises, forbidden sealing arts, brutal combat simulations against lifelike artificial clones designed to kill. And most importantly, Orochimaru taught Naruto how to control the 9 tails. While the Leaf's elders feared the Jinchuriki's power and kept Naruto under constant surveillance, Orochimaru exploited it. He taught Naruto channeling exercises with cursed seals, merging their influence into something powerful and twisted. It was the perfect recipe for an unstoppable shinobi. The training grounds, a year after Naruto's defection. Naruto now wore a black battle kimono with clanless insignias. His hair was longer, tied back. His face, unrecognizable. Calm, still, intelligent. The fire hadn't gone out, it had been refined into a burning spear, not a chaotic blaze. Orochimaru watched him practice an advanced version of the Rasengan infused with nature transformation, something even the 4th Hokage had never completed. Naruto's new version crackled with violet energy, merging wind, snake-like chakra flow, and corrupting seal energy. He launched it toward a reinforced boulder, obliterating it into dust. Greater than, excellent, murmured Orochimaru, licking his lips in excitement. The 4th never achieved this level of control. But you, my dear Naruto, you surpass even the legends. Quote, Naruto didn't smile. He simply bowed his head. Greater than, power isn't enough. I want technique, knowledge, immortality. I want to outlive every shinobi who doubted me. Orochimaru grinned. Greater than, and you will. When I'm done, you will be a shinobi not even the sage of 6 paths could have imagined. Naruto's new persona, the Mask of Calm. Naruto no longer embraced the loud, reckless bravery of his childhood. He had spent months studying fuinjutsu scrolls and medical research by Kabuto. His growing intellect shocked even Orochimaru. Naruto's mind was as sharp as his battle instinct. He spoke rarely, observed always, and struck fast. And yet, he never forgot Konoha. Not once. There were moments, quiet ones, where the guilt and confusion returned. Memories of Iruka, Chuki's warm bowls of ramen, Kakashi's tired praise. But pain always came after. He reminded himself, greater than, they wanted me to be a weapon, but now, I choose who I fight for. And Orochimaru's voice always crept back with the cure for his doubt. Greater than, one day, they'll kneel before you, Naruto. As a failure of their judgment, and a testament to your evolution. The turning point, Sasuke's arrival. Orochimaru hadn't expected Sasuke to seek him out, at least, not yet. But when he did, the snake Sannin saw an opportunity too delicious to waste. He didn't need to pit them against each other immediately. On the contrary, he wanted to reshape their rivalry into something darker. Answer, Naruto and Sasuke stood before each other for the first time in 2 years. Sasuke scanned Naruto with an unreadable expression. So this is who you've become, he said quietly. Naruto didn't reply, but his presence was almost palpable, filled with potential danger. And somewhere deep within him, the nine-tailed fox laughed. A dark, echoing laugh. Because something else had begun to change. The deeper Naruto sank into forbidden arts, the more the Kyuubi stirred, as if enjoying the taste of Naruto's ambition, and his growing ease with immorality. The night that followed would shape the world. The cracks in Naruto's soul. Naruto walked the dim corridor of Orochimaru's underground lab, the faint light of torch fire reflecting off glass tanks filled with half-formed experiments. His quiet footfalls echoed against the cold floor. Once, these same steps would have been loud, hurried, filled with excitement and hope. Now, they were precise, controlled. A thick, silent shadow trailed him, the cage of the Kyuubi. Greater than, you grow darker every day, brat, the beast sneered from inside him, its crimson eyes glowing behind the bars of the seal. And I like it. Naruto stopped walking. A heartbeat passed. Greater than, I'm not doing this for you, Naruto muttered. Greater than, no, said the fox mockingly. But every time you dip your hands into forbidden jutsu, every time you ignore what those weaklings in the leaf taught you, the seal loosens a little more. Naruto didn't even flinch. He had grown desensitized to the fox's taunts. Instead, he answered quietly. Greater than, let it. I won't be bound by anyone's seal, not even yours. The fox growled, but there was admiration there. For the first time, Naruto wasn't fighting against the Kyuubi's influence. He was embracing it. Orochimaru's masterpiece in motion. Inside the main lab, Orochimaru stood next to Kabuto, peering over Naruto's newest design, a modified version of the seal Minato had placed on him. But this one was enhanced. Not weakened, but repurposed to let Naruto fuse some of the Kyuubi's chakra into his own, creating a monstrous hybrid chakra that no Jinchuriki before him ever dared to consider. Greater than, it's incredible, whispered Kabuto, adjusting his glasses. The host chakra doesn't break under the strain. He isn't just resisting the Kyuubi, he's synchronizing with it. Greater than, Naruto-kun, Orochimaru said, stepping into the light, his voice dripping with satisfaction, you've transcended what any Jinchuriki has ever accomplished. Even the fourth could not have imagined this evolution. Naruto closed the sealing scroll and bowed slightly. I'm far from finished, he said, eyes glowing faintly with power that was no longer purely his own. I still haven't tested the hybrid Rasengan in live combat. Kabuto's eyes widened. You're planning to use that technique against an opponent. That could destroy a city block. Naruto stared back, mask of calm unbroken. Greater than, then they should stay out of my way. Orochimaru chuckled. That's what makes you my favorite, Naruto. You don't fear power, you accept it. Naruto didn't reply. He simply walked out. He never needed praise. Because now, Naruto had become his own standard. Elsewhere, Team 7 in Konoha. Konoha was growing uneasy. Naruto's disappearance had been kept quiet at first, labeled as a temporary, training mission, but Tsunade and Kakashi knew the truth. Jiraiya had come back from his intelligence search, worried, and most importantly, angry. He slammed the table in the Hokage's office. Damn it, Tsunade. Orochimaru has him. This isn't just another missing ninja incident. Naruto's a Jinchuriki. If Orochimaru gets full access to the 9 tails. Greater than, I know, Jiraiya, Tsunade snapped back, her hands trembling. But we don't know where Orochimaru is hiding. Sakura and Kakashi stood in silence. The tension in the room was suffocating. Sakura swallowed. What about Sasuke? Kakashi didn't respond. His hand clenched at his side. Both of his former students had fallen into the hands of the same man. Sakura stared out the window. Greater than, was Naruto really so alone that he chose Orochimaru over us? Kakashi sighed. Naruto wasn't the loudmouth fool everyone thought he was. He was perceptive, more than they gave him credit for. And if someone told Naruto the right lie, mixed with the right truth, the fallout could break the entire shinobi world. Back with Orochimaru, the true purpose. Orochimaru sat on an ornate wooden chair in his private chamber, the glow of hundreds of candles dancing against the walls. Before him was a giant scroll, one of the oldest forbidden artifacts ever recovered. A scroll containing the Edo Tensei evolution theory. Kabuto bowed. If Naruto helps you complete this, you'll become unstoppable. Quote. Orochimaru smiled. That's precisely why he's worth far more than Sasuke. Power without discipline is a waste, Kabuto. But Naruto's hunger, his eyes flashed with wicked delight. Naruto has the mind of a shinobi and the pain of a demon. A weapon forged from hatred and need. Kabuto glanced at the doorway. Greater than, do you think he'll ever turn on you? The Sannin froze, then smiled slowly. Greater than, of course he will, he said. And that, Kabuto, is what will make him perfect. Quote. The Sound Village, Clash of Shinobi. An intruder alarm echoed across the hideout. Naruto was in the training corridor when Kabuto burst in, breath tight. Greater than, Naruto. It's him. Naruto didn't even ask who. He already knew. The ground trembled. A flash of lightning burst through the stone wall, crackling with killing intent. Sasuke, dressed in a dark blue tunic, Sharingan blazing. Silence filled the corridor for a full 3 seconds. The last time they'd seen each other, they were still children. Now, 2 prodigies stood face to face, each one twisted by their choices. Naruto smirked. Greater than, looks like you finally made up your mind. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. I didn't come here for Orochimaru. I came for you. Naruto's chakra began to swell, red and purple threads of energy dancing around him, raw Kyuubi force, fused with cursed energy. Greater than, then let's see if you're strong enough, he replied quietly. This time, I won't be holding back. The air shattered under the pressure of their chakra. Orochimaru watched from the shadows, his tongue licking the air with joy. This was the moment he had waited for. 2 monsters, born from Leaf's failures, ready to unleash chaos. Naruto vs. Sasuke, a clash beyond destiny. The ground rumbled violently as both Naruto and Sasuke released their chakra, the very air crackling with tension. Dust swirled around them, forming a cyclone of raw elemental power as darkness shrouded the hall. Sasuke was the first to move. Chidori stream. Rows of jagged lightning erupted across the corridor floor, tearing apart the stone tiles and blasting holes through the walls. The chakra was monstrous, refined through Anko's curse mark, strengthening it beyond what Sasuke had controlled months ago. But Naruto didn't flinch. He didn't scream or boast or charge recklessly as he once had. He simply raised his hand. A spiraling orb of pure chakra appeared, but not the azure Rasengan that Jiraiya taught him. No, this one was deeper. Darker, swirling with a sinister mix of red and black. Kuro Rasengan, a fusion of Kyuubi's malevolence and Orochimaru's cursed chakra. Greater than, you weren't the only one who decided to change everything after the Valley of the End, Naruto said, voice quiet, steady. But unlike you, I don't fight for revenge alone. Quote. Sasuke's eyes widened. He recognized the power in that sphere. A Rasengan laced with malice. Something that should have been impossible. Greater than, TCH, the Uchiha hissed, stepping forward, Chidori crackling in his own palm. You always were an idiot, Naruto. But this. His Sharingan spun rapidly. You let that snake infect you. Naruto's gaze flashed. Not with confusion, not with hurt, but with resolve. Greater than, no, Sasuke. Orochimaru didn't corrupt me. He unlocked me. Forbidden collision. The two jutsu met in a devastating explosion. Blue lightning against red corruption. Boom. The impact shook the hideout, tearing through multiple layers of stone and sending a shockwave that shattered ceiling pillars. Kabuto leapt back as the walls caved in, shielding his eyes. Even from a distance, the clash was overwhelming. Orochimaru, however, merely chuckled, eyes dancing with sinful joy as he watched his two chosen weapons clash. Rasengan and Chidori met again. But there was no riverbank. No Kakashi to stop them. No mercy in their eyes. Both boys were no longer symbols of balance. They were the aftermath. Sasuke's evolution unleashed. Sasuke burst through the settling rubble, but this time his body began to warp, markings crawling across his neck and expanding into wild, flame-like tattoos. The curse mark, level 2 activated fully, his skin turning gray, wings sprouting from his back. He roared, his voice not entirely human. Naruto blinked once. Calm. His hand dropped. The red chakra around him began to boil, rippling and bubbling like molten hate. The hybrid seal glowed at his navel, and a tail began to form. Not the unstable cloak of the Land of Waves days, but controlled, harnessed, one-tailed demon chakra, reinforced by Orochimaru's forbidden sealing matrix. Greater than, so that's how far you've fallen, Sasuke, Naruto said quietly. Then I'll drag you even lower if that's what it takes. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Greater than, then come try, demon. A clash that ignites nations. The next few seconds were a blur of explosive combat, chakra against chakra, taijutsu refined by desperation. Naruto moved like a whisper of death, vanishing and reappearing with the silent precision of Orochimaru's assassins. Sasuke countered with enhanced speed, his wings slicing through the air like blades of steel. Their strikes shattered stone. Their chakra suffocated the air. Their screams rattled through the foundations of the hideout, triggering alarms across every base Orochimaru owned. This was no longer just a fight. This was the inevitable, violent collision of two powers the leaf failed to guide. Konoha reacts, the leaf mobilizes. Back in Konoha, Tsunade slammed her hand on the desk, cracking an entire slab of wood. Greater than, everyone prepare for deployment. Orochimaru doesn't get to keep two of our greatest assets. Jiraiya was already outside the door, scrolls strapped to both arms. No more waiting. No more intel gathering. He was done making excuses. Greater than, if you're going after him, he said with a voice like steel, I'm coming. And we're not bringing them home as prisoners. We do this, he whispered, looking back at Kakashi, or we'll lose this war before it even begins. Quote, Kakashi's visible eye narrowed. Naruto's name silently echoed in his heart. Greater than, please, don't go so far that we can't reach you. Little did they know, they were already far too late. The Leaf's two lost sons were now weapons, no longer of Konoha, but of wrath. The hidden hideout trembled, shrieking under the violent exchange of chakra and willpower coursing through its ancient stone walls. The cavernous training arena, once silent except for the hiss of serpents and the scratch of Orochimaru's chalk-white hands on seal scrolls, was now a battleground. Naruto Uzumaki stood across from Sasuke Uchiha, and neither of them looked like the boys who had once stood atop the Hokage faces in the sun. Naruto's eyes flickered, the deep azure shade now infused with a molten gold glow, signaling the merging essence of Sage Chakra and a partially unlocked Nin. Tail's cloak. Embedded into his arms and torso were the sealing marks Orochimaru had personally modified, marks designed to control, amplify, and eventually replace Kurama's influence. He was a weapon in the making, one that Orochimaru believed would one day rival the Sage of Six Paths himself. Sasuke smirked back at him, the three-tomo Sharingan spinning like crimson fire wheels, but underneath that smirk was an unease he'd never admit. Sasuke had power, an arsenal gleaned from cursed seals, serpent jutsu, and Orochimaru's twisted experiments, but Naruto was different now. Naruto wasn't just trained, he was changed. Face mask. The clash ignites. Naruto lunged first, his sandals skidding off the rough stone floor with a momentum that cracked the surface beneath him. His fists weren't just coated in chakra, they were reinvented with Orochimaru's influence, chakra enin. Seed strikes mixed with bone-crushing taijutsu, reminiscent of both Jiraiya's raw style and Orochimaru's subtle lethality. Sasuke countered mid-charge, forming hand signs with surgical precision. Fire style, great fireball jutsu. Quote, the blast was massive, scorching heat flooded the room as the fireball roared toward Naruto. Naruto didn't dodge. He raised a single palm, and the air around him vibrated. A golden barrier erupted from thin air, shaped like a spiraling whirlpool, a sealing technique that shimmered in defiance of the fire itself. Collision. The flame collided. Fire it wreathed, burned fiercely, then dissolved against the barrier with nothing but a hiss. Sasuke's eyes widened. That wasn't normal sealing technique. What the hell had Naruto learned? Snake. Orochimaru's watching eyes. High above the combat arena, Orochimaru sat on a cold ledge, his serpentine grin stretching unnaturally long. Kabuto stood a few steps behind him, taking notes. The fight below was staged, engineered, and Orochimaru wanted to see just how deep his influence had clawed into Naruto's psyche. Do you see it, Kabuto? Orochimaru asked, his voice dripping like poison. Kabuto adjusted his glasses, eyes glinting. It's remarkable, Orochimaru-sama. Naruto's seals are adapting to the 9 tails. The barrier he just used, it wasn't purely defensive. It absorbed leftover chakra, then redirected some of it back into his system. He's rewriting his own chakra flow. Orochimaru chuckled softly, the sound echoing like a hiss. Yes, unlike Sasuke, Naruto's changes aren't just in the body. They're in the mind. His instincts, his resilience, he's becoming exactly what I need. What you need, or what you fear. Kabuto quipped mentally, but dared not speak aloud. Down in the arena, the clash reached its next level. High voltage. Naruto's evolution unleashed. Sasuke, I'm not holding back anymore, Naruto said, voice low and dangerous. His hands moved, not through seals, but through pure instinct. A golden-orange cloak of chakra erupted around him, spiking with serpentine black lines that pulsed like living organisms. Sage mode combined with Orochimaru's cursed seal engineering. Sasuke's heart thudded. That wasn't normal 9 tails chakra. And Naruto's eyes, they were now a hybrid of toad-like vertical irises and the demonic slits of Kurama. Come, Naruto growled, let's see who's stronger now. He launched forward, not just with speed, he flickered, phasing out of sight, leaving only the sound of whirling wind and snapping chakra in his wake. Sasuke didn't have time to react. Naruto appeared behind him, strike incoming, a single palm filled with compressing chakra, almost like a Rasengan, but tainted and whirling with corrosive black streaks. Reverse Rasengan, Void Spire. The attack landed, or would have, but Sasuke's cursed seal flared first, his skin turning gray and marked. In one smooth counter, Sasuke's hand shot out, Chidori hissing like serpents in a storm, and the 2 jutsus met, Kriti. NG, a devastating shockwave that tore apart the arena wall behind them. Their chakra collided, their wills clashed. Classical building. Meanwhile, in the Hidden Leaf, back in Konoha, panic was erupting beneath the calm facade of the administration building. Tsunade sat in her office, fists clenched, a scroll opened across the desk. Shizune hovered nearby with worried eyes. Are you sure this came from our scouts? Tsunade asked grimly. Yes, Lady Tsunade. Orochimaru has started experimenting again. And they've confirmed it. Naruto and Sasuke are both being used in his training programs. Tsunade leaned back, eyes darkening. Naruto wasn't just missing, he was being reshaped. Jiraiya stormed in at that exact moment, slamming the door open. Tsunade, I found the coordinates. She didn't speak. She handed him the scroll. Jiraiya's eyes widened. So it's come to this, he muttered, voice laced with both guilt and rage. I'm taking a full squad. No more running. Orochimaru's gone too far. Tsunade looked at the ground, her knuckles white. Bring 'em both back, she said softly. But be prepared, Naruto may not be the boy we once knew. Quote, Clap aboard the turning point, loyalty tested. Back in the hideout, the tone of the battle shifted. Sasuke leapt backward, sweat dripping down his jaw. He activated his second stage curse form, wings erupting, chakra burning black. Don't make me kill you, Sasuke hissed. Naruto paused, and something inside him flickered. Not anger, not power, but memory, a memory of Team 7. Their first mission, their first laughs, Sakura smiling, Kakashi's calm gaze, Jiraiya's goofy grin. For a split second, Naruto's chakra flickered. Orochimaru leaned forward on his seat like a predator scenting blood. Perfect. Naruto's hesitation would be the break. Kabuto whispered, so it begins. Drop of blood from comrades to threats. You're weak, Naruto, Sasuke spat, trying to bury his own hesitation. You cling to old bonds. Orochimaru told me, you can't move forward with such dead weight. Quote, Naruto's eyes softened, then hardened again. No, I haven't forgotten them, even if you have, and even if I'm being turned into someone else. He exhaled, voice grave. I won't stop trying to save you. Quote, Sasuke's fist clenched. That's when the cave's roof shattered. A monstrous wave of water came crashing down, cutting the arena in half, blasting Naruto and Sasuke apart. A new voice echoed through the shadowy cavern. All right, you little snakes. Playtime's over. Naruto's eyes went wide. That voice, that chakra, Jiraiya. The cavern's walls dripped with cold residual moisture from the massive water jutsu that cleaved the battlefield in half. Debris, shadow, and the skeletal remains of shattered statues littered the ground. The air trembled with chakra so dense it was almost visible, layered currents of serpentine malevolence, toad-like wisdom, and storm-like conflict. And at the epicenter of it, Jiraiya, the Toad Sage, stood glaring across the broken terrain, his white hair drenched, his eyes vibrant with years of pain and the crushing burden of loss. Opposite him, lounging with eerie calm, was Orochimaru, the snake Sannin, a grin slithering across his pallid face as if carved out of pure amusement. Naruto and Sasuke both stood between them. Two weapons, two sins, two victims of power and choice. Cyclone sand of memories, wind of betrayal. Naruto's heart pounded. He'd always imagined seeing Jiraiya again, but not like this. Not with Orochimaru at his back and blood on his hands. His knuckles trembled, chakra pulsing uncontrolled, part fox, part seal, part lost boy underneath it all. Jiraiya's gaze softened the moment he saw Naruto. You've changed, he said, voice thick with ache. Naruto couldn't respond. His throat was tight, his fists tightening enough to make the sealing marks in his arms pulse dangerously. Sasuke, meanwhile, stepped forward and crossed the dividing line of rubble and dust, standing next to Orochimaru. You shouldn't have come here, Jiraiya, Sasuke said coldly. Neither of you belong in the leaf anymore. Quote, Jiraiya ignored Sasuke. He stared at Naruto. Do you really believe that? Naruto flinched. For a moment, the world was silent. Snake Orochimaru takes control. Orochimaru broke the silence with a hiss. Enough sentimentality. You're trespassing, Jiraiya. Leave, or stay and die, again. Jiraiya's jaw tightened. I'm not here to fight you, Orochimaru. I'm here to take them back. Both of them. Kabuto chuckled lightly from the shadows. You think they want to go with you? They chose power. They chose the truth you all hid from them. You're too late. Kabuto's words pierced Naruto's chest like a blade. Is that true? Did I choose this? The weight of endless training sessions, violent experiments, and the quiet nights of doubt pressed against him all at once. He remembered the way Orochimaru praised his growth. How Sasuke never looked back once he crossed that line. How the leaf shunned him, even as Orochimaru shaped him. Naruto's eyes slowly rose to meet Jiraiya's again. Am I too far gone? Jiraiya's answer was immediate, full of warmth and burning conviction. Never. High voltage. The clash of titans begins. Orochimaru's smile dropped. So it's a rescue mission, then. How quaint. He lashed out with a sudden strike, a giant white serpent erupting from his sleeve, mouth snapping toward Jiraiya with killing intent. Jiraiya dodged left, flipping into the air as his hands slapped together into a rapid seal formation. Summoning Jutsu, Toad Mouth Trap. In seconds, the cavern walls shifted, flesh-like, organic, rippling with life. Orochimaru's hideout was swallowed into a massive toad's gullet, the sealing jutsu collapsing the very structure of space around them. Naruto's eyes widened. He knew this technique. This was Jiraiya, truly at full power, serious, desperate. But Orochimaru was unimpressed. "You think I didn't prepare for your tricks?" He thrust his mouth open, and a massive sword, the Kusanagi, shot forth, slicing through the flesh walls like butter, releasing a burst of cursed energy that evaporated the seals. Sasuke activated his Sharingan, watching the clash unfold with sharp focus, while Naruto just stood there, trembling between both worlds. Between the boy he was, and the weapon he was becoming. Tornado Naruto makes a choice. Naruto! Jiraiya shouted mid-battle, dodging a streak of snakes and cursed chakra from Orochimaru. "Look at me." Naruto froze as Jiraiya's voice echoed through him with the same warmth he'd felt as a child. "You can still come back. I don't care how much they've changed you. You're my student, my responsibility, his voice cracked just slightly. "My legacy." Naruto's eyes trembled. A flash, memories, ramen nights, training cliffs, raccoon laughter, Sakura's shy thanks, Iruka's warm smile. Then another flash, Orochimaru's cold praise, Sasuke's silent determination, the crushing loneliness when he was exiled, the power he had clawed into his veins to prove himself. Naruto screamed internally, "Who am I supposed to be?" The chakra around him spiked wildly, turning into a luminescent, snarling aura of fox and sage energy. Kurama stirred deep inside the seal. "That depends, brat," the beast said, a low rumble beneath his ribs. "Are you a tool, or are you a force?" Naruto's breathing steadied. He looked up, his gaze locked with Sasuke's first. Then Jiraiya's. Then, finally, Orochimaru. "No," Naruto said softly, his voice shaky but surrounded by growing storm and light. "No more cages. No more choosing between sides. I'll walk my own path from now on." Crossed swords, a new foe arises, Naruto versus Sasuke, one last time. The air crackled with tension. Orochimaru's face twisted into a chilling smile. A bold declaration, but misguided. "You don't get to walk away from power. Power demands purpose." He turned to Sasuke. "End him. Show him what true resolve is." Sasuke's fingers twitched. His Sharingan rotated into Mangekyo for an instant. A silent, wordless understanding passed between the two former teammates. It was time to clash, not out of hatred, but to redefine themselves. Naruto raised one hand. Sasuke raised the other. Chidori, Rasengan, both heavy with years of growth, evolution, rage, longing, and brotherhood. Both ready to collide. The cavern was a prison of chaos, crumbling walls, quaking stones, chakra tearing the air into fragments of heat and raw energy. Jiraiya and Orochimaru clashed with monstrous intent. The ground itself rebelled under the weight of their power. But it was the silent battle at the center, the one between two boys marked by fate, that would decide everything. Naruto Uzumaki, stolen by the serpent, molded in darkness, armed with the power of a demon and the training of a genius gone wrong. Sasuke Uchiha, a blade sharpened in hatred, honed by betrayal, fixed on a single goal, to never be weak again. They faced each other, no, collided with each other, not as enemies, but as shadows of what once was. "You've changed," Sasuke said softly, his voice calm, almost mournful. "So have you," Naruto replied, his voice trembling from emotion, and from power. Suddenly, the world erupted around them. Cloud with lightning Rasengan versus Chidori, a clash beyond death. Their hands moved almost on instinct. Years of training, pain, mentorship, rage, and longing crystallized into a single moment. Naruto's hand bloomed with a swirling orb of wind and blue light, a perfected Rasengan, far sharper and more controlled than anything he'd mastered back in Konoha. Sasuke's blade of lightning roared with the screech of 1,000 birds, Chidori, now fueled not just by hate, but by resolve and AC. Old clarity. When the attacks collided, time broke. A shockwave split the rock walls in a perfect circle, vaporizing water and turning stone into dust. Orochimaru and Jiraiya both had to leap back to avoid being caught in the vortex of unimaginable force. The ground couldn't handle the impact. It broke, cracked, screamed. The air warped. Naruto and Sasuke were thrown back, but neither fell. Blood dripped from their hands. And they stared at each other, breathing hard, not just from exertion, but from the truth. Why? Sasuke said. Why come back? You finally escaped Konoha. You got stronger. This was all you wanted, wasn't it? Naruto's lips tightened. I thought it was. But when I saw him, Naruto nodded at Jiraiya. I remembered what I left behind. The things I thought I didn't need. The people I hurt. The promises I broke. Sasuke looked down, his fists trembling. I don't need promises. I need power. Enough to end everything. Quote. Naruto shook his head, eyes bright. There's no power big enough to fix a heart alone, Sasuke. And no amount of pain that justifies killing your soul. Sasuke went silent. That's when it happened. The seal on Naruto's stomach flashed black. Dash dash dash. Drop of blood. Orochimaru's final lesson. Control. Orochimaru's voice slid through the chaos like a spine-chilling whisper, amplified by a summoning seal glowing underfoot. I knew this day would come. The day you try to escape my influence. But you don't yet understand, Naruto. He raised his hand, and black tendrils of cursed chakra shot from the seal on Naruto's chest, wrapping around his body, tightening, pulling. Naruto screamed, clutching his stomach. You were never meant to control the power I trained you to wield, Orochimaru said, eyes colder than ice. You were a vessel, a tool, and now. He turned his hand. The seal pulsed. Naruto's pupils slitted. His aura flared red, violent, unstable. The chakra of the nine tails burst free, but not in rage, in distress. Sasuke's eyes widened. Jiraiya's face fell. Naruto fell to his knees, breath shaking, spirit burning from both inside and out. You're not a tool, he gasped to himself. Not anymore, not ever again. Kurama's growl echoed in his mind. That's it, boy. Use me. Tear this mark apart. Or die fighting it. Naruto clenched his fists, blood running from his palms. Sasuke watched, torn, eyes darting from Orochimaru to Naruto. For the first time in years, Sasuke hesitated. Naruto. Naruto gasped, one eye glowing with fox fire, the other glimmering with human pain. You're still my brother. That single sentence, soft, trembling, desperate, shook Sasuke to his core. Dash dash dash. Fire betrayal of the serpent. Sasuke finally moved. He turned, facing Orochimaru. Chidori charged, silent, deadly, aimed straight at the one who had used him. Warped him. Used them both. Orochimaru's eyes widened, not in fear, but in pure fascination. So that's your answer, Sasuke. Sasuke surged forward. Yes. But Orochimaru was not caught unprepared. His body dislocated grotesquely, splitting apart, and a massive, white serpent form rose from beneath the surface. Unfortunate, Orochimaru said flatly. But expected. Sasuke landed back beside Naruto, whose body was still trembling, cracking under the combined force of the cursed seal and the fox. Stand up, Naruto, Sasuke said quietly. Naruto looked up, shocked. Sasuke turned, Sharingan blazing. We settle this together, and after that, we choose our own path. Naruto grabbed Sasuke's wrist, cane-like marks pulsing on his arm. Yeah. Quote. For the first time in years. I'm not alone. Dash dash dash. DNA final assault, the broken Sannin and the lost children. Jiraiya landed beside them both, summoning scroll already unrolled. I'll take Orochimaru. You two get out of here. Naruto and Sasuke shook their heads. No, they said in unison. This is our fight too. Orochimaru laughed darkly. Oh, how poetic. Broken disciples. Redeemed traitors. You really think the three of you can kill me? Quote. Jiraiya turned to the boys. No, he answered calmly. We're not killing you. Just then, Naruto stood tall, arms glowing with burning orange chakra, his cloak forming, but not wild, not violent. Balanced. Purposeful. I'm sealing you. Orochimaru's eyes widened. Jiraiya smirked. Looks like my student learned something from both of us after all. Sasuke ignited Chidori one last time, lightning dancing through his arm, but his gaze steady, not hateful. Let's end this, Orochimaru. The air burst wide open with light and violence as three forces, Sage, Serpent, and Storm, collided in a single, destiny-shaping moment. Quarter moon, the beginning of the end. As the dust exploded out from the enormous battlefield, light shattering the darkness and the cave beginning to collapse, one thing was clear. Things would never be the same again. Naruto was no longer the weapon of the serpent. Sasuke was no longer the shadow of revenge. And Jiraiya was no longer just a wandering sage. The world was changing, and this time, Naruto would choose where it went. Naruto Uzumaki's first weeks under Orochimaru were unlike anything he had ever imagined. Gone were the easy smiles, the encouraging words, the goofy grins, replaced instead by the cold and calculating gaze of a predator sizing him up. Orochimaru didn't treat Naruto like a student, he treated him like an experiment, a vessel of potential with limitless capacity, if properly molded. Instead of the cheerful air that surrounded Jiraiya, there was a chill here, damp stone walls, hollow caves, and whispers that twisted the air itself. Naruto's transformation began with one question, not, what can you do? But, what will you sacrifice? 1. The Ritual of Insight. Late one night, within the hidden lair of the Sannin, Naruto was brought before a sealed chamber, one marked with ancient runes and guarded by shadow-like Anbu defectors loyal to Orochimaru. The floor beneath Naruto's feet was cold, etched with symbols that pulsed faintly like living veins. Orochimaru slithered behind him with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Greater than power is not something granted to those who are simply chosen, Orochimaru said softly. It must be seized, stolen, bent to your will. Naruto's fists clenched. For his village, for his dream, for acknowledgement. He nodded. The ritual began, taps of chakra-infused stones glowing eerily. Naruto felt his consciousness pierced. Suddenly he saw memories that weren't his. Powers that clawed their way into his mind. He saw the first Hokage controlling tales of a raging Biju. He saw Orochimaru's experiments with wood release. And then, you are not just a vessel of the nine tails. You are the unrefined future of shinobi evolution. The ritual didn't destroy Naruto. It awakened him. Locked away in the depth of his subconscious, new instincts, sharp, feral, terrifying, took shape. And Orochimaru watched, satisfied. 2. Forbidden Taijutsu, Fury of the Serpent. Unlike Jiraiya, who would have focused on physical stamina, summoning, and righteous ideals, Orochimaru's path was precision. Lethality, efficiency. In dimly lit halls, Naruto sparred not with dummies, but with clones of himself, designed to expose his flaws brutally. The more he fought, the more Naruto learned to remove mercy from each strike. His wind style Rasengan evolved, not to explode, but to penetrate. Orochimaru was delighted. Greater than, I see you're learning to kill, without remorse, the Sannin chuckled softly. Even Sasuke, who had once been the only one truly trained by Orochimaru, felt a pang of unease seeing this new version of Naruto, deadlier, smarter, more unpredictable. 3. Summoning Snakes, Pact of Predators. One night, after weeks of physical and mental conditioning, it was time. Orochimaru led Naruto to a blood-soaked shrine deep in the hideout, surrounded by shed scales and snake idols. Greater than, you will make a contract tonight, a binding one. Naruto bit his thumb. He felt no fear, only grim anticipation. Moments later, the ground cracked. A giant summoning symbol erupted, releasing a plume of smoke. When it cleared, before Naruto stood Manda, not as a tool, but an equal. The colossal snake stared Naruto down with murderous intent. The boy did not regress. He stepped forward. Greater than, if you want to eat me, Naruto said darkly, eyes glowing faintly with nine tails chakra, you better do it fast. Quote, Manda paused. Then he laughed, deep, ancient, resonating laughter. And the contract was complete. 4. A dark rivalry reforged. Meanwhile, Sasuke had grown uneasy. Naruto was changing faster than anyone expected. Once clumsy and loud, he was now quiet, sharp, increasingly cold. Orochimaru's eyes shifted between the two boys, almost like a serpent watching a pair of mice, wondering which would devour the other first. During one training session, Sasuke confronted Naruto. Don't think becoming cold makes you strong, Sasuke hissed, his Sharingan burning. Naruto smirked, eyes half-shadowed. I'm not cold, Sasuke. I'm awake. They clashed, with such ferocity that even Orochimaru had to intervene. But rather than scolding him, he smirked. Good. Let hatred and need shape you both. That is the path of a shinobi. Quote, deep down, Naruto's heart ached at what he was losing, but the power was intoxicating. 5. Return of the Nine Tails Legacy. Naruto started hearing the faint whispers of the Kyuubi, not in rage, but in curiosity. You have changed, brat, are you still the child who sought acknowledgement, or have you become a hunter? The Nine Tails sneered. Naruto wasn't sure how to respond. But he no longer felt shackled to the beast's spite. Instead, he embraced the raw power inside him and molded it with venomous focus. He no longer burst into rage when accessing the tails. He bent the chakra, shaping it into deadly fangs and silent killing intent. He became not the vessel of chaos, but the conductor of it. This was the Naruto Orochimaru wanted. This was not a child of prophecy. This was a weapon. The final descent, a weapon forged in darkness. Time blurred in the serpent's den. Weeks became months, months bled into a year. Naruto Uzumaki had shed much of the innocence, warmth, and loud-mouthed bravado that once defined him. The boy who had once chased after acknowledgement through laughter was now a shadowed prodigy, silent, sharp, and calculating. Yet even as the darkness nurtured him, a single flame smoldered deep within, something he wasn't sure Orochimaru ever intended to let burn. It was the memory of Konoha, of Iruka's first hug, of ramen with Tsuki, of Sakura's smile, of a dream that still lingered, distant but undefeated. 1. Mission of Corruption, the Konoha Probe. One day, Orochimaru called Naruto and Sasuke into his study. His voice, like silk-coated poison, spoke of opportunity. Quote, I have a task for you. A test of loyalty. You will infiltrate Konoha, under false identities. I want to know how much the village has progressed since our departure. It was a mission as much psychological as physical, meant to confirm whether Naruto had truly abandoned his homeland. Naruto felt the air leave his lungs. He remembered the sounds of children playing, the aroma of food stalls, the giant stone faces of the Hokage staring proudly over the village. He remembered saying he would be one of them. Now he was being asked to become the viper at their throat. I understand, Naruto replied quietly. But inside, a storm was building. 2. Return of the Ghosts, Infiltration. Disguised with transformation seals and chakra-embedded masks, Naruto and Sasuke entered Konoha at nightfall. The gates were guarded, but not by the faces Naruto used to know. New genin teams, newer recruits, unfamiliar eyes. As they moved through the village streets in the shadows, memories stabbed like thorns. A young boy laughed at a prank nearby. A shop owner closed up, humming softly. Lights flickered in peaceful homes. This was everything Naruto trained to protect. Yet here he was, an invader. At the central tower, Naruto hacked the security seal with a technique Orochimaru had taught him. A technique Naruto hated. A technique designed to bypass Konoha's entire detection network. As the seal dissolved, Naruto paused. Was this what it meant to be strong? Was this what his new power demanded of him? 3. Conflict of the Heart. It was then, just as they prepared to leave, that a familiar voice cut through the night like a kunai to the soul. Naruto, is that you? Naruto froze. It was Tsunade, and beside her, Shizune and Yamato. Their chakra signatures had been tracking him, not because of the seal he broke, but because Tsunade had never stopped believing Naruto would come home. Naruto couldn't answer. His mask dropped. His eyes, no longer filled with the mischief of boyhood, glinted with the weariness and scars of a weapon. In the making. Grandma Tsunade, Naruto whispered. Tsunade took a step forward, her face a battlefield between hope and heartbreak. Come back to us, Naruto. This path is going to destroy you. Quote, Sasuke stepped between them, Sharingan flaring. He's chosen. Don't you dare pull him back now. Naruto looked between them, between his past and present, between the fragments of his dream and the venomous reality Orochimaru had laid beneath his feet. His heart screamed, his fist shook, the nine tails stirred. I never wanted to abandon you, Naruto said lowly. But I will never be weak again. With a sudden burst of chakra, Naruto vanished with Sasuke, leaving nothing behind but shaken resolve and the lingering grief of those who still loved him. 4. Master and Monster. Back in Orochimaru's lair, the Sannin smiled when the boys returned. Did you hesitate? Orochimaru asked, eyes gleaming with sick curiosity. Naruto didn't answer. His silence was enough, but Orochimaru didn't want silence anymore. He wanted assurance, or obedience. Your final test, Orochimaru murmured, is to prove you are no longer bound to the chains of your village. Quote, he snapped his fingers. From the shadows, Kabuto wheeled in someone. Someone weak, beaten, barely conscious. It was Konohamaru. Naruto's eyes widened. His heart clenched. The boy looked up and managed a weak smile. Naruto, I knew you'd come back, you're still a hero. Naruto felt his chest collapse. Orochimaru's voice became a dagger. Kill him. And be reborn into the shinobi you were meant to be. Sasuke looked on, waiting. Orochimaru grinned. Kabuto's gaze was neutral but expectant. Time froze. Naruto stepped forward, kunai drawn. His hand trembled. Memories of saving Konohamaru from bullies flashed like sunlight in a storm. Then he moved, but the blade never struck the boy. Instead, it plunged into the heart of the biggest serpent in the room. Orochimaru gasped. Blood splattered. Naruto's resolve broke chains that no seal could bind. 5. Rebirth of the Broken Hero. Naruto stood tall, eyes overflowing with tears and killing intent. I won't be a puppet anymore, he whispered. I might be broken, I might have strayed, but I decide who I become. Quote, the nine tails chakra roared through him, not in rage, but in liberation. Its power didn't control him, it supported him. Sasuke, shocked, stared at his brother in darkness in a new light. Naruto, what have you done? Quote, I woke up, Naruto replied. Konohamaru was freed. The walls cracked with power. The underground base shook as Naruto forced his chakra into sealing tags Orochimaru had used to control him. No one gets to write my story but me. Quote, Orochimaru's body collapsed and began regenerating, but the blow had been dealt. His control had been shattered. His designs for the ultimate vessel were lost. 6. Epilogue, The Path Unseen. Naruto carried Konohamaru out of the crumbling hideout as Sasuke looked on, conflicted and silent. Come with me, Sasuke, Naruto said, not pleading, just offering. Sasuke's eyes wavered. Then he turned away. I have my own path. The hideout exploded behind them, flames licking the sky like serpents burned alive by the sun. Naruto didn't look back. He walked toward Konoha, not as the same boy who'd left, not as the vessel of Orochimaru's dreams, but as a fractured, powerful, and still unfinished legend. This wasn't the hero the world asked for. This was the hero forged in choices, scars, and fire. And the world would never forget the day the serpent's apprentice chose to be human again. Thank you.